So today we will talk about the strategic management and corporate public affair. Uh, I think the strategic management is already a very important management discipline, a very key subject in management studies. So in this study, what you learn is like how you prepare your kind of a course of action for the companies, right? When you sell your product or when you provide your service to customers, you don't just provide that product or service to customers. You should have all of the company before they selling the product, they have prepare a very specific plan first, right? It's like your say plan of selling product service next year would be prepared this year. Right? So you prepare plan far advance. So the question is how you can actually prepare that plan of sales, promotion, or say distribution and so on. A lot of business activity will from plan first, far before your reaction of your companies. So strategic management is actually studying how your company is plan something to sell more of your product service. But planning is not just planning. Before you plan something, you have to analyze a lot of conditions, right? Your company's market condition, externally, internally. Also, you have to understand your strategic behavior of your competitors, how your competitors will be reacting in your market. So not only preparing your plan, but also you have to study the market condition, your competitors, your industry, and so on. Right? So a lot of analysis should be done first, and then based on that analysis, you plan something. So lots of the planning actually process will be learned in strategic management. So strategic management is actually the ideas, your roadmap of selling your product. But the question that we are going to talk about today is not the planning of your selling product or service. How you actually plan something upon the stakeholders' demand, for instance. Of course, you only need to plan how to sell your product, but also what, however, market wants to you, to your company is not the product itself, but sometimes they demand a lot more things to your companies. Right? Even if it is not related to your company's product service, you have to react in some way. Right? That reaction should be planned first. Right? When something happens, then you react or respond, that may be too late. So the point is how your company is correctly posture yourself, your company, or make a correct, say, stance upon particular demand of the stakeholders. So that is the question. Let me give you some example here. This is oil company, right? Case of the oil company. Suncor is Canadian oil company, right? The Suncor is Canadian oil company. And the company started to invest kind of a very small province in Canada. The province called Fort McMurray. So that's the kind of a very small city. So I don't know where it is actually. Somewhere in Canada. So what the Suncor did was that the company found a kind of an oil well there, right? So by heavily investing in that area, they started pumping out oil. So pumping out oil, which is very good for that region, for that city of McMurray, right? So by making a lot of investment, it creates jobs, increase the employment. Also, it create more investment attraction, right? Because simply you are making a lot of factories, a facility and so on. So you or say other related companies, suppliers or potential buyer maybe also gather there together. So the area of Fort Murray getting larger, prosper, and affluent more and more. So which means that the Suncor did the right and good things for that city. Right? So no problem at this point. But some other problems start to occur. Right? As the city become affluent and getting larger and larger, the cities start to have like social inequality. The gap between those who have or who has not getting wider and wider. Then maybe another kind of a social problem, not exactly caused by the Suncor, but it happened that way. And also, as the people gathering there to find more job, there might be some housing problem. Right? The city should build more housing, home, household, and so on. However, they couldn't really catch up the inflow of new employment there. So the lack of housing caused another problems, social welfare problems. And also a lot of like standard of living problem also occurring there. So you thought that by attracting oil companies and their investment, the city getting better and better. But in fact, of course, the city getting better. But on the other hand, the city does have some problem as well. So the question to you is, does the Suncor need to do something on this issue or not? That is the question. Right? If you are the owner of the Suncor, the oil company, do you have to solve this kind of a social inequality problem for that province, for that small city? Your company did not really cause this kind of inequality problems. So, but the question is, I don't know what will be your answer, but the question here is that you may say that we are oil companies, so what we need to do, concern is just making investment, create more job, concern about the environment, and that's it. But you cannot say that. You have to have your company's a specific stance or posture upon some specific social phenomenon sometimes. So say, upon these things happen, this is our company's fundamental ideas and strategic posture. So you have to position yourself right on particular social issue. So the question is, how then make your company positioning right on every different kinds of social issue? That is the questions, right? But what important here is that you should have one, right? Otherwise, your company's reputation may be damaged, or you may simply lose your reputation, right? It may take a couple of decades or years to build up your image, but a poor reaction or lack of showing your, say, strategic stance or posture upon some social phenomenon may destroy your company's value, even if you didn't actually do anything wrong for a particular social phenomenon. So that's why a lot of company does have a 홍보 team, right? In English, 홍보 team is a public affairs department. Do you know what 홍보 team does? So the 홍보 team, public affairs department's job is not really promoting exactly your product or service. The 홍보 team, the public affairs department, is try to study what issues, what kind of demand actually raised by stakeholders, and how your company try to react that demand of the stakeholders. You don't need to say always yes to your stakeholders, but you have to have a firm stance on particular stakeholders issue. So that is actually the job of the public affairs department, and good job of the public affairs department actually determine your company's success or sometimes failure. I will tell you later, the wrongdoing of public affairs departments actually destroy the value of the firms. Even if your product service are good, fine, people love your companies. Right? So product quality itself doesn't really matter this day for the success of your companies. So that's the point actually what you're going to talk about today. Then what kind of thing that public may want? Upon what things the public upset about your firms? By simply it may be their misunderstanding, or it may be their irrationality, but the question, the point here is that you have to respond quickly, rightly, and so on, timely manner. So how can you do that? And also another important thing is, before you react something, you have to prepare something always. You have to prepare this or that might be happening to your firm. So in case of happening this or that event or accident, this is the way your company's reaction. So you have to prepare that kind of a plan. That is actually the job of the public affairs department, and that job is now closely related to your strategic management and strategic planning, right? So that's what we are going to talk about today. So the goal of your learning on this chapter is that you have to understand what public policy means. So policy means actually promoting your product service, but public policy is how your company react to the opinions or say ideas of the stakeholders. How can you stand your companies upon that stakeholders say demand? So you have to understand the concept of public policy and how that public policy is related to your strategic policy. Strategic policy is like your policy on selling, promoting your product, right? So that policy and public policies are related. How? So that is actually your goal of learning from these chapters, right? And briefly, you are going to review how companies are actually plan the company's, say, strategic management process, strategic planning process. Let's say that Samsung, for instance, tried to sell, say, 5 billion mobile phones. So that's the plan of the Samsung Electronics. How the company ends up with that kind of a plan. So you have to understand the process of process of that strategy making. So what's really going on inside the organization to end up with that kind of a planning. So we will briefly look at how companies are actually making specific plan and how that plan is related to your public policy. So that is actually the key point of this chapter. And also you have to learn how your company's social performance should be written down and reported to the stakeholders and shareholders and so on. And what are the trends of the Honbo team this day? So on what issue the public affairs department try to focus on their with their capability and so on. So that is actually the ideas in this chapter. But I think what you need mostly to understand from chapter 5 is number 1. Number 2 or 7, from 2 and 7, I think you will learn step by step in your higher course. So at the moment, I think what you need to do is to learn just number 1 here, right? And also the concept of, say, Pretty much the same thing of this slide with the previous one. So try to understand what's the public affair, what kind of demand the stakeholders may raise, and how you actually determine your company's firm stance upon that, the demand of the stakeholders. So that's pretty much about the ideas in these chapters. I think mostly the business and societies are, this course is pretty much designed for, say, like third year, fourth year, or like graduate school curriculum. So for freshman students, probably your reading may be difficult to understand at the beginning. So when you actually study, prepare your midterm, I will review, right, which chapter, which paragraph you need to focus on for your exam. So when you read the book, if you don't understand, rather than bog down to that specific ideas, just try to skip to the next level, right? Try not to too much get involved in that specific concept if you just cannot understand. So the concept of corporate public policy, that's quite enough if you fully understand the concept. So basically what 홍보 team does, because you are senior students, right? You are 선배, already work a lot in that department of the company. So that's actually what they do. They are not really, again, selling the price, the product of the firm, but their job is really critical this day to the companies. Have you heard about corporate identity, CI? I think starting somewhere year like mid 90s, a lot of Korean companies were in fashion of the trend at the time was that the Korean company tried to change their symbol, logo, slogans, and so on in a unified way. What I call a CI, corporate identity, right? We know that a lot of Korean companies does have a lot of, say, subsidiaries, right? Like Samsung, for instance. Samsung Group altogether consists of more than 80 different companies in 80 different business units, all different companies. So somewhere in 80s, the logo or slogan sometimes and the or sometimes name of the firms are all different, right? So the point was that by identifying that slogan, logo, say a name or mark of the firm into a single one, the company tried to create a unified image. By creating unified image, the company tried to show that to public, this is what our company is, and this is the fundamental stance of our firms to the public, right? Because the stakeholders, the public wants a lot many different things, right? In order to react each one of the demand individually would be inefficient sometimes and not working well. So before your firm respond to different, say, demand of the stakeholders, what the company tried to do was that they create a unified image as one, right? So corresponding to responding to the stakeholders' demand individually as one is much more efficient. So that's why CI, corporate identity. So like previous LG is, the logo of LG is this one, right? LG, right? So it was created somewhere beginning of year 2000, but before year 2000, the LG does have many different, say, logo, or the name may be also all different, the slogan may be also all different, but however, by having one that identical slogan, name, symbol, the company tried to make a firm stance. So this is our companies, and this is how we are going to do upon any different types of the public issues and so on. And Hanwha used to be the logo like this and change into this one as what they have now. So that is kind of a job of the CI, corporate identity. By rather than having all different, they try to have a single identity. So nowadays, all different Hanwha subsidiary companies use this unified logo. Again, the point of having this one is try to show a unified image to the companies. So whatever happen outside, whatever public wants to us, we show a unified stance upon that demand. Try to be as one. Hyosung as well. Apple, like if you buy all different kinds of Apple product, that you can see clearly from the Apple products, right? That somebody buy the Apple here. What does that mean? The company website, I just saw the website. The company explained that somebody buy the Apple means that you buy knowledge. I don't know. And all different 7 color means computer. No, the computer may use 7 different colors, so I don't know, but that's what they explained. The 7 different color means that they are working on some computer related product. And the apple represents Newton's gravity theory, right? Newton developed gravity theory by the apple dropping on his head. So that's actually a symbol of the apple. So whatever the Apple product you buy, you see the same logo here. So same logo means, of course, the company tried to create a unified image, but behind the meaning of it is your company, that company tried to show one single message to the public. What exactly that specific stands to public opinion, I will explain that later in the case of Coca-Cola or Merck and some of the global companies. So most of the companies, especially that's the job of the public affairs departments, try to create a unified image of your firm first, and then they must be probably try to find some way to respond to the demand of the public and people, stakeholders outside. Mostly the Hongbo teams strategy is that they try to build a strong relationship with the mass media, like newspaper, TV, by having a good public relationship with that companies in mass media. And also you see lots of like global firms are lobbying the government. Like Merck, I will explain later that like the USA pharmaceutical companies already manifest in their websites, say that we support politicians if that politicians benefit the spirit of our companies. So lobbying the governments are pretty much common this day. I don't know whether it is really common in Korea, but in USA, in another European country, the lobbying government or government figure supporting or shaping policy in favor of your companies are pretty much very common public policy this day, public policy practice this day. And also that Hongbo team, public affairs department, arrange lots of, say, town hall meeting. They arrange lots of like mass meetings, inviting lots of customers, stakeholders, people from everywhere, try to listen what they want, and also try to show your opinion on particular issues and so You see a lot of also 공익 광고, right? If you see like Dusan 공익 광고, if you remember, like nice looking college boys and girls just shown on TV, smiling and saying something. Not really they selling products, but they just smiling, right? That's it. The job of the public affairs department, right? Try to show good image. Try that is the way there, a channel to communicate with the public. Right? Try to establish a very good relationship with the public. So in case a bad things happen, the company can react much more favorably and easily. I think two cases here, the collapse of Korong Gymnasium and the nut scandal by Korean Air. Right? So nut scandal right, in Korean, not rage. I think if you see the newspaper of other country, that's what they call a nut rage. So what's the common things of two cases are what? I think two cases are pretty much common, and I think I personally believe that two tragedy was not really the mistake of the company itself, but in this case, the public affairs department react very fine, good. So even though the company probably may not really guilty on that accident, but didn't really lose that much reputation. But in this case, probably a poor reaction of the public affairs department to the public, the image of the say that vice president, but also the whole company may damaged a lot, right? So what happened first here? The collapse of Korong Gymnasium. I think the 2 years ago, certainly, I mean, because of this accidents, a lot of things change. Whenever actually I think all of you guys already did like freshmen's, what's that? MT, OT, or what? 새내기. No, the things you spent 2 nights at the Hongcheon, right? What was it?
The one we did.
Yeah.
That was
Seto, right. So when you actually do the Seto, I don't need to sleep there too. Right? But because of this accident, the government changed the regulations. So when students actually sleep somewhere or together, then the professor should be there, right? So I have to spend there. So in case that kind of the accident happened, I have to act something and so on. So what happened was this one. I think 2 years ago, right? A very snow-laden gymnasium roof collapsed, killing 10 students and more than 100 students injured. Right? Heavy snow. Right? But unfortunately, that gymnasium was built by Korong Construction Company. Right? Was that because of the poor construction of the company, or what else? The collapse of the roof was heavy snow, right? But the thing was that the weather report warned there will be a heavy snow, so there was a pretty much enough warning given to people there. And also, what happened was that the Korong Construction, when they built that gymnasium, strictly follow the guideline of the government. I don't know whether the government guideline was perfect, but they just follow their guideline. So legally, it is not really the fault of the Korong construction companies. But when this accident happened, killing 10 students, young students like you, and injured more than 100 students, what was the public opinion on that one. They start upsetting the Korean construction, right? They start to raise, it is the fault of Korean, so Korean should start do something on that mishappening. Right? But again, it is not really exactly the 100% the mistake of the Korean, right? So, but what the Korean construction company did was that they really act quickly. Right after the accident, 6 hours later, the CEO, chairman, all of the staff went down to, this is the Gyeongsang province somewhere, went down there, visit the spot at the front to recover all of the things here to cure the injured students. And then right after that, they visit the funeral and they publicly announced that this is the comment by the CEO and the chairman of the Korean group. He said that I give my deepest condolences to the deceased who lost their precious lives in the accident, and simply say, he said, he will do everything to compensate for those who lost their lives or injured. Right? He really quit fast, right? Of course, that reaction is not probably also the ideas of the public affairs department. Most of the case when this kind of happen, their job is to prepare kind of legal steps, right? Explain that this is not our fault, or blah blah blah, something like that, right? To excuse something on some other party and so on, but the Korean really didn't do. They quickly admit the accident. They say they will in charge of everything, so they will compensate everything. So even the huge collapse of this kind of a tragic accident, the Korean company itself was not really in difficult financial condition, and the some people start to praise the leadership of Korean. What about then the nut scandal here? What happened? I think what she did on the airplane, simply the nut scandal was like she was she's the vice president of Korean Air, very pretty lady here, vice president of Korean Air, and also member of royal, what the media call royal family of that Korean Air, 10th richest family in Korea. So she is daughter of that firm, also the vice president. And when she was in the first class, she was served with a nuts, big nuts. I don't know what it is, big nuts, right? And then, according to her argument, the nut should be served in plate, but she served with the nuts in a package. So she thought that that's against the regulation, so she just stopped the airplane. The airplane was about to depart on the runway, and she just bring the airplane back to the gate and push the attendants out of the airplane. The point was that nobody actually can stop the airplane unless the pilot witnessed some immediate danger or safety and so on. You just cannot stop the airplane, right? Simply you don't like to fly, right? Once you get in, you have to fly. But she stopped, right? So that was the problem. But that happening reported in media, of course, the same thing happened. Like the public start to giving indignation to what she does, and also the Korean Air. But before we criticizing what she has done, I think the reaction of the public affairs department of the Korean Air was quite poor. So the public affairs department explained that she was right? The flight attendants violate the regulation of in-flight service, and so on, right? So kept suggesting lots of excuses, and that actually upsetting more and more the public. So at the end, the public revealed another similar kinds of, say, poor treatment of, just like poor treatment of the flight attendants. Right? She just treat the airplane like her own private jet, right? Which is wrong. So that happening was on the mass media for a couple of weeks. Actually, even worse, the public opinions, and then the CEO and owner of the firm far later gave the official apology to public, but that never calmed down the upsetting the publics. So the Korean Air stock price went down, and she finally stepped down and even went to jail, right? So it was also very poor management of the Public Affairs Department. Again, the point here is that the Public Affairs Department should always prepare how the company will react upon a sudden contingency. You never know what that sudden contingency would be, but you have to imagine what will be happening, or you have to prepare when this happens. This will be your company's public the statement, or public, say, stance, and so on. That's why company need to form a very smart run very smart public affairs department. Again, that department does not really involved in selling, promoting your product itself, but as you see, their behavior even promote more to your company's service and products. So, so if you look at, like, compared to Korean companies, a lot of other, say, global companies like IBM or Coca-Cola, they have a very firm public policy, right? Outspoken public policy. So upon this social issue, we do this or that firmly, right? So that shows the like strong, say, confidence of the firms to that many different public issues. Like IBM, say they selling computer software, hardware, not really hardware this day, but software, consulting. They basically provide intelligence service, right? Computer technology, IT technology. So their policy might be selling that IT technology. However, if you look at that IBM's public policy, you will see how the company position itself in many different public opinions and social issue. Say IBM, what's the point of IBM to do kind of integration of global economy? But that's actually what they manifest in their homepage. They manifest that we will do something for global economic integration, right? Probably sounds too much political issues here, but that's IBM's determination. Workforce flexibility, energy environment as their strategic priority, right? You cannot really see any computer or technology related policy here. Export compliance, stick to intellectual property, so you won't stealing any other's ideas unlawfully, and forming a very good government relations and so on, right? Pretty much like Korean firms, probably too shy about speaking this kind of public policy, but a lot of other foreign companies they certainly has a firm stance on many public issues. Okay, let's have a break, and then we also look at some of the case of like Coca-Cola and then some Merck, which is a USA pharmaceutical companies. You see a lot of ambitious their public policy, which is also very remarkable on one hand, and also become the benchmarking example of other companies. And what about, like, on the other hand, Coca-Cola public policy here? So these are some of the priority of the firm's public policy. I mean, Coca-Cola is always named when we talk about public policy, because very good company in balancing between their public policy and promotion of the products. If you see, I think lots of you already have seen the company's TV advertisements and so on. So I don't know how you actually felt from Coca-Cola public like TV commercial and advertisement. Their advertisement, especially on TV, strongly reflect their public policies as well. So that's why we say the company is very good at balancing their product promotion as well as public policy together. Like, we know that the Coca-Cola, the company itself actually offer more than 500 brands in over 200 countries. Right? So that's basically they sell every product everywhere in the world. And also, more than 700,000 companies are involved in the company's operation management everywhere. So their public policy is like they have a strong commitment not only for their product but also the whole society. So that's why they put like caring about people first, caring about planet. Like that's their public policy. So whatever happen about people or planet, like environment or something, the company is determined to do something on that, right? Try to some leading role in that issue, people and planet issue. So like people things first. Like the policy of the firm is that they never say hire children in their TV commercial. Right? So that's why we see a lot of bears, right, in the company's advertisement. And also we know that the Coca-Cola is very sensitive on the environment and community. So like climate change, for instance. I think what's the point of the beverage company concerning the environment, but actually the company concerning the environment. Climate change, right? I just forget how the company also has very strong examples of say less gas emission, but improving more productivity in producing Coca-Cola and so on. So the company is thinking about less pollution, environmental pollution way of making the beverage and so on. And also the company concerned a lot about like commitment of the family value, especially providing good water, clean water, well-being of individual, family, health, even education and so on. So that means whatever happened on the list of the company determined to do something on that part. Right? So quite interesting, right? You may thought that the company only doing the job in commercial sector, but actually it is not. I think the company in that sense, especially caring about people aspects. I think the first beverage company that display the calories on their products, right? So how many calories actually by drinking on particular, say, soft drink and so on. So also the company actually show leadership in making a zero-calorie soft drink in the beverage market. And lots of female hiring or the educating less illiterate person in say Philippines, for instance, the Coca-Cola, other than the government there, do really a critical role. So, and this is another pharmaceutical companies. Interestingly, the pharmaceutical company of USA also shows kind of a very strong public policy as their priority, right? At the front, the company say that we will close interact with the USA government, not only the USA government but also the European government and many of their customer located governments. So that means the company will make a political influence on the policy making, especially in pharmaceutical product or healthcare related policy and so on. So the company will do that part for in policy making. So they will determine to influence in policy making, and the company is actually doing the job. So they also, if you see the company's public policy, the company will do strongly for the lobbying lots of government-related issue countries. Also, the company will contribute a lot to political aspects. So if the, say, politicians are very good for their interest, for their shareholders, stakeholders, then the company will contribute for them. That they already said so as part of the company's public policy, which is quite very brave announcement as a firm to do. But the company did that one. So, which means that the pharmaceutical products is very closely related to our health, right? So that's why the Merck, like pharmaceutical company, tried to do something on especially political related public issue. Like Coca-Cola or Merck case, they are determined to do something in environment, politics, and so on. That means the company of those two examples will say concern more about that, especially political issues. But that political issues are not the only public issues that the company need to pay attention. Right? A lot of, say, condition your company may face in your operation, which may coming from like issues such as affirmative actions like equal opportunity and so on, or privacy issues, like AIDS issue, especially in USA, safety issue in Korea, and sexual harassment in Korea as well, and the environmental friendly manufacturing operation. So you will receive lots of, say, questioning your positioning on many this kind of issues, right? So upon many issues here, what your companies are asked to do is that you determine your firm posture, stance, strategy, or position regarding this one. Right? So that's why all of the companies should get ready. So what kind of, say, issues from social, global, ethical aspect maybe upon your desk in the company and how you will react. So that's actually the company should do for the public policy. So quite conceptual suggestion here, but I think this is the kind of a process of public policy making from the company's perspective. What actually the public affairs department, 홍보 team, do take as their procedure of making public policy. So you have to determine your goal and objective. Like Coca-Cola case regarding, say, equal opportunity, for instance, then the Coca-Cola determined to be providing equal opportunity for male, female, nationality, race, whatever. So they just publicly announce that is their ideas, that is their policy for equal opportunity. Also, the company also publicly announced the company's position for environment caring and so on. So you have to determine what's your objective, what's your goal, what's your position upon particular many aspects of from the society. And before you determine your message or your posture, strategy, stance, you have to target which group you are going to deliver your message. So you have to specify target audience. Especially the target audience simply here means that who would be the most be interested in your saying. So your message should be designed for that particular group. Like we see a lot of public advertisement of, say, Korean company, Dusan or whatever, smiling college kid and so whatever. So who are actually that advertisement is actually targeting? Somebody who are paying more attention to the Dusan corporations. And on one hand, you need to specify what is the specific target group, but on the other hand, you have to design what would be the key message to that specific target group. So key message should be easy to understand, credible, and succinct, and also should be your agenda driven. So that is actually the company spend lots of money to design a specific key message. And also, so designing, after you design specific target group, key message, and you determine tactics. You have to differentiate between tactics and strategy. Right? What is tactic? Do you know the difference between 전략, 전술? The tactics is much more like 전술, right? And strategy is more like 전략. So simply, strategy is your roadmap. So this way, you will do something, right? You will achieve something by taking this roadmap. While tactic is more specific than the strategy, right? Tactic is like kind of a statement for doing something by specifying, say here, by specifying time and method. So your roadmap may not be altered that easily, but your tactic may be changing conveniently if necessary. So tactic means the way you do something on specific time with specific methods. So if you clarify all that, that's what I call a tactic. So when you design public policy, you should design tactics, right? How you are going to deliver your message to specific target audience on, say, simply what time for a month or for 6 months or for a year or 2 or 3 years. You have to specify the timing by what method, right? Like through TV, radio, or yeah.
So when you make public policy, you first make strategy, then tactics.
Yeah, mostly, yeah. So, yeah, that's actually the way you design the policy. Design strategy first and then design tactics, right? And yeah, create time framing is part of tactics, and you actually at the end you see success, whether your strategy tactics really successful, right? For specific target group, whether the message was delivered correctly, successfully. So that's actually how you create public policy and the job of public policy department. So I think the time's up already. So what we try to do next is how, again, when company prepare their, say, strategy simply means kind of specific plan of selling your product service. And when you actually prepare that strategy, how your idea of public policies are say, integrated and or intermingled together, right? So your message to public is nowadays become part of the job of your sales and promotion. So used to be, say, public policy and strategy making two different, but nowadays it's done all together, right? So strategic management, public policy, pretty much done simultaneously. So we will study how this one is actually done together with this one. That's great. Again, your final, midterm exam will be May 3rd, okay? So just make sure that